Welcome back into the live desk. I want you guys to think about something. Think about how many times you read a day, from just a text message or maybe even your latest summer book. Reading is how we learn. It's part of how we communicate and how we grow our brains. But this lifelong skill is lacking right here in our community. And that brings us to our guest for today. Welcome in for this Behind the Story. I'm Janae Hancock here with Sharon Chen. And Sharon, you actually dug into the reading proficiency right here in our community. And there's a problem, and there are groups addressing it. So tell us a little bit more about why you decided to focus on this issue.
Well, let's talk about the numbers first, okay? The reason why I decided to focus on this, because we had heard that there's a major deficiency when it comes to reading in our community. So I dug into the state education numbers, and I basically found that less than 25%, really 23% of third graders in our community are reading at grade level. So what that means is that by the time a child reaches third grade, they need to be reading at a certain level where they're starting to understand, put phrases together, get meaning out of what they're reading. Well, that's not happening here in Kansas City. 1 in 4 students are not reading at grade level. So we spoke with some community groups that are helping these schools kind of boost their reading, and they're literally calling this a crisis.
A literacy crisis.
Yes.
So without further ado, let's watch it.
At 7 years old, little Julian Munoz is drinking in every word.
The log.
The second grader at Crossroads Academy Charter School loves reading and learning about polar bears. But not so long ago, reading a story like this out loud to Dad Gabriel was a challenge.
It seemed like he couldn't quite understand the rhyme or reason to words and letters put together.
That EW says, ooh.
Julian isn't alone in his struggle.
About 80 students in our building right now.
Shannon Reesby is the literacy coach at Julian's school, where out of the 240 students, 33% need help with reading.
It's based on need. Where are they falling in our tests, and just making sure that we're getting every kid what they need.
And that need is great. Missouri state data shows only 23% of Kansas City district and charter third graders can read at grade level. That's 1 in 4, and statewide, it's at 43%.
Would you say we are at a crisis point?
Absolutely.
Dr. Robin Henderson is Chief Program Officer at School Smart KC. The nonprofit organization works with local school districts and charters to help boost reading performance.
That data actually represents a national trend where we are seeing students really struggling with reading.
According to the latest Nation's report card, reading scores among fourth graders in 2024 were lower than in 2022, and even lower compared to 2019. So the question is, what is behind this literacy crisis?
I think we as educators across the nation went through a phase where we really weren't letting the science guide how we were doing instruction.
That is the science of reading. There are 5 components: phonemic awareness, phonics, vocabulary, fluency, and comprehension.
They are struggling. They're struggling in many components of reading. It breaks my heart. That's our future.
Heartbreaking, yes. But Dr. Henderson says what the struggle should serve as is a call for action.
This is not about pointing fingers of blame at schools. This is saying, how are we, Kansas City, going to step up?
In Kansas City, School Smart KC is stepping up in 40 elementary schools with programs like one-on-one tutoring.
I says, yeah. Good, now try it.
Helping to write a new chapter for improving literacy.
I like how you're working through that word.
And word by word, helping each child
Good, nice job.
to read at grade level.
He's improved. He's improved a lot, and he's kind of given us the confidence as parents that he's going to be okay. He's going to be okay, and he's going to read just fine.
Drink.
Sharon, this truly is a national issue, a nationwide issue, because I know even where I'm from, there are students there that are completely behind their grade level. I mean, it is alarming. And speaking of alarming, I do want to go to your web story on our website, kctv5.com right now. This is an alarming statistic. Missouri state data shows that 23% of third grade students in Kansas City's district and charter schools can read at grade level. That is 1 in 4, as you have already touched on. Statewide, that number is 43%.
Yeah.
And, you know, as we kind of scroll down, actually taking a look at another graphic here, it got worse after 2019. And I'm wondering if COVID-19 even played a role in that, you know?
So COVID did play a role in it. So it, obviously, you know, it's not just the science of reading, but that's a big part of it.
Right.
But yes, COVID also played a big part of it too. But it basically comes down to, for a long time, we kind of ditched that idea of those 5 components, and a lot of teachers just focused on the phonics, which is, yes, that's how you sound out words,
Right.
but that doesn't touch on the comprehension, the fluency, and, you know, basically grasping that whole idea of reading, because reading isn't just recognizing words, right?
No, and I touched on, you know, the alarming statistic, what really got my attention. But as you were doing these interviews, you were talking to the father, you were watching the child, and speaking to the educators. I mean, what surprised you? What was the most alarming to you?
I think what was really surprising to me, I mean, when you hear a statistic like this and you think, oh my gosh, what is happening with our schools? But the message that was really interesting to me is with a program like School Smart KC. They go into schools and they help these students and they see it day by day. And they said, really, this is not something that should sit in the laps of our educators. This is truly a call for action. And I kind of thought about that. And I think she's right, because this isn't just up to our teachers to teach in the classroom. This is parents coming out and sitting down and reading with their kids. Like Gabriel told me, that was the father that we spoke with. And he said, you know, a lot of this is on us as parents, because for a long time we get so busy with our lives and we kind of forgot that we need to get him to like books. And I think that that's not a story that's limited to that family. I think a lot of people are that way. Oftentimes when my daughter, I think, oh my gosh, I forgot to check up, but how is she doing on her homework? Like, does she even have homework? Because we get so busy in our lives.
Yeah, and it's getting into that routine, like, oh, they'll sit down, they'll go in their room and do their homework, but just making sure that they're fully understanding what they are supposed to be doing.
Right.
And speaking of Shannon, you kind of touched on this a bit, but she said this isn't about pointing fingers at other schools. This is about where we are in Kansas City and how we are going to step up. And I thought that's something that stuck with me as well, is that we can't focus on the problem so much, but how are we going to move forward, and make sure that we are building the future. So I know that they are doing one-on-one tutoring, but are they planning to and maybe incorporate more testing? Is that a goal?
I think right now the goal is, so if you look around Kansas City, there are so many different programs that are going into schools and, you know, really boosting the reading goals. So I think you saw there in the interview with Dr. Robin Henderson, it was 15 Mahomies. They had a reading program there. And then outside the school, the Royals just started their reading program with their little reading, their little nook outside the school where people could just go in and grab books. The kids can go and just grab books. But I think it's just little steps like this to really boost the kids. As far as state goes, I think they're going to try to, you know, boost the science of reading, right? And then I think the idea is to go back and visit. Yes, we don't know whether it's through testing or whatever method it might be, but for right now the focus is to get back to the basics.
And that is very important. I mean, again, Sharon, it's just sad to see that these kids who they're so young and they want to do well, but they're just behind grade level, and that's unfortunate because we want them to succeed. So I love to see programs like this that are really putting in they're putting in the effort to do that for them. So
Yeah.
awesome. All right. So just one final question for you. As far as Gabriel, that is the dad of Julian, is that right?
Yep.
Did he maybe touch on what he thinks parents should do?
Get in there.
Okay.
Read with your kids.
Get involved.
You know, I do want to get this point out there too. It's so important to get this right because reading at this level, at 3rd grade, that is what determines a lot of kids' high school graduation, their careers in school, and lifelong outcomes. Because you said it at the very top, Janae. Think about how many times you read a day.
Yeah.
That is a basic life function. And so we absolutely have to get this right now.
For them to move on, not only in school, but also in their careers.
Right.
Alrighty, Sharon, this story is actually posted on our website, kctv5.com, as well as the KCTV5 News app. Sharon Chen, I want to thank you so much for joining me here at the live desk for today's Behind the Story, and we'll meet you right back here soon. I know you're working on some other projects as well.
All right. Thanks, Janae.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.